Hey guys, welcome to THFE Productions. We're a channel that originally focused on Halo. Because of that, we're huge fans of Bungie. So, we're happy to announce that we're going to be covering Bungie's new game that they're developing. This is codename Destiny. So what we're going to be doing is following this series and updating you guys on all of the news. So, it's no surprise to you that this is going to be an awesome game and we're very excited to be covering it. So, what do we know so far about Destiny? Well, you know, there's very little that's been announced publicly, at least officially, but there's a lot that's been leaked, hints that have been dropped here and there, and there's a lot that we can speculate on from the few comments and the images that we've seen so far. So guys, stay tuned. I'm going to be delving into what we know so far about Bungie's new game, Destiny. So let's get started with the basics. I've been referring to the game as Destiny. Now it's important to note that right now neither Activision nor Bungie have formally announced nor confirmed the Destiny games. So as far as we know, the game could be changed, the title could be different, and there have been rumors that have been circulating since early February of 2011 that Destiny would be the codename for the new project, though we have heard that it might be named Tiger. What you may have noticed as well is I mentioned Activision. Activision will be included in this whole process. Now, keep in mind, Bungie is the primary game developer, and Activision will be involved in publishing the game. According to court documents made public after the Zampella West trial, Destiny is described as a sci-fi fantasy action shooter series. The Destiny games are set to come out in the beginning of fall of 2013, followed by subsequent releases in the fall of 2015, 2017, and 2019. In addition, Bungie has agreed to create 4 downloadable expansions known as Comet that will be interspaced between these, so those will come out in 2014, 2016, 2018, and 2020. The court documents also reveal that Destiny will be released not only on the Xbox 360, but also on the PS3. There are also references to it possibly making it onto the computer, which would be awesome. We're used to Bungie having developed Halo exclusively for the Xbox, so it's awesome going to be seeing what this game turns into as it spreads across multiple platforms. Now, it is believed that the game will be released first on the Xbox 360 with later releases for the PS3, and of course when the Xbox, presumably 720, comes out, then we'll be seeing the franchise Destiny move onwards and be released on that. So what can we expect to see when it comes to Bungie's new product, Destiny? As part of its 20th anniversary, Bungie released a new video dubbed "Oh Brave New World." In it, they take a trip down memory lane, and towards the end, however, we see glimpses of the new project. So now I'm going to play for you guys a short clip from the end of that YouTube video that Bungie put out, "Oh Brave New World."
Working on something brand new.
Bungie's next project is obviously incredibly ambitious and incredibly exciting. You know, a new world, a new universe. There's a scale to what Bungie wants to do, which people have not seen before.
We feel responsible for not just telling an isolated story, but for building a universe that at some point is going to become more the fans than ours. It's going to take a life of its own.
We don't know what the future holds. We have to push past that self-doubt and that fear.
If it's not scary, then it's not going to be good. We have other ideas. We have other, worlds that we want to create.
We want to build a universe where any crazy shit can happen.
We've got all that experience making really big games, so we know that what we're aiming for is going to be just that much bigger.
What's interesting to note is the size and scale of the terrain we're looking at here. In the first clip, we can see windswept and snow-covered valleys, tall peaks in the background, wind turbines in the front. So all this leads us to believe that this will be a huge in-depth world that we can all explore. And Bungie's been known to do this in the past with the Halo series, but they're going to be taking it a whole step further, especially with the time of day effects that you see in the second clip. So as you can see, this is going to be a very expansive environment, and it's definitely a world that the developers want you to explore. Jason Jones, who's the co-founder of Bungie, says, "Destiny is designed for your inner 7-year-old. We want to make it feel like a mythic adventure." They've also said that they want it to be as deep, tangible, and relatable as the Star Wars universe. Now this isn't surprising coming from Bungie. If you look at Halo and the whole Halo lore, there's a tremendous amount of information. There have been entire books written about the series exploring the background to it. There's a whole Halo Bible, there's a Wikipedia page, there's all sorts of details that create this entire mystical universe. And there's a lot of depth to it, so it's not surprising they're porting this whole sense of exploration and depth right back into their new series, which is Destiny. Our insight into what Destiny might entail comes in the form of these leaked concept art photos right here. Now, these were leaked a while back, and in response, Bungie did not deny they came from the game, and instead released their own concept art that you can see right here. So these are all going to be showing what's part of the game, and I'll go more in depth in this. But first I want to bring to you a quote from a document that was sent over to IGN that describes the story in general. Our story begins 700 years from now, in the last city on Earth, in a solar system littered with the ruins of man's golden age. A massive, mysterious alien ship hangs overhead like a second moon. No one knows where it came from, or what it's here for, but only that it's our protector. Meanwhile, strange, alien monsters creep in from the edge of the universe, determined to take Earth and the last city. We are young knights, tasked with defending the remains of humanity, discovering the source of these monsters, and eventually overcoming it. It's clear from this concept that there will be an overarching, universal sense of scale in terms of the battles and the lore. Seeing as this is going to be humanity's last stand once again on Earth, there's going to be lots of ruins of a golden age. There'll be lots of technology from the various aliens, all sorts of stuff that'll make its way in and make a really diverse universe. Of course, Bungie has also slipped in its sense of the unknown, starting with the idea of the main ship that is going to be floating over the main city on Earth. And so this is kind of reminiscent of what we saw when it comes to Halo and the Forerunners, this whole mysterious backlore that actually a lot of players really enjoyed, and that's what drew me in when I played Halo for the first time, was a sense of awe, not only in terms of what the Forerunner left behind, but the huge sense of scale in Halo CE, so I'm glad to see they're bringing that back. What's also interesting to note is they mentioned that the main character will be a knight. Now, Bungie or those affiliated with Destiny have never officially mentioned that there will be factions. However, it is widely regarded that this is going to happen. The 5 main factions that people have identified based on what Destiny sort of entails in terms of the leak content and some of the logos that have been seen around Bungie and on t-shirts have led us to believe that the 5 following factions will be Dead Orbit, FWC, New Monarchy, Osiris, and Seven Seraphs. We'll be making a video specifically detailing these and going into the information that we know about each of these. While factions haven't been confirmed as an official part of the game, I'm almost certain they'll be in there, because it feeds into the larger narrative of where this game is headed. Bungie has stated, or at least it's been rumored, that this game will be somewhere between an MMO and a first-person shooter. We're able to glean additional information about Destiny from a Demonware employee who visited the studios on Bungie Day. According to his account, he says the following. The day started in the Bungie offices with a bizarre Knighting of the Noob ceremony, where everyone who started at Bungie within the last 6 months was presented with a signed wooden sword, and asked to kneel in front of Harold Ryan, the president, while he read a pseudo-oath culminating in Be Brave, a term they have trademarked for the game. Following this, the group went to a local movie theater for a few hours of presentations covering everything from game story, factions, art, engineering, toolchain, graphics, audio, player investment mechanisms, player progression, UI, and web and mobile apps. Many of the presentations featured video footage, but the author lists a live scene walkthrough demonstrating lots of atmospherics, huge amounts of trees and foliage, particle effects, dynamic lighting, dynamic time of day, ending in a sunset as a highlight of the portion of the day. Apparently after the presentations in the theater, the Demonware employees were given access to Destiny over at Bungie Studios. The senior employee from Demonware states the following. This is not a dedicated server game, but there is some simulation coordination running in their server infrastructure. The game was up and down a lot. Playing in a team of 3, we did manage to experience entering a zone to find other players already taking on the bad guys. It's cooperative, so we helped out, before both groups ended up going their separate ways, which is a pretty cool experience, making you feel you are part of a much larger, populated world. So what I get from this is a lot of cool and insightful kind of looks into what we might be seeing from the game. So the first part that really interests me is the walkthrough, where they talk about being in the middle of this forest. There's trees moving, a huge forest that you can go and explore. There's all these particle effects, there's time of day, there's dynamic lighting. This all makes for a very interactive world, and it seems like they're going to have large wildernesses for you to explore. And the second part that I find very interesting is the MMO aspect of this, where the the Demonware employee talks about, playing the game and then randomly running into another group that I'm not sure if they're completing a quest, but they're essentially in the same region, and they end up, teaming up and moving on afterwards. So there's going to be a lot of connection between you and other players in the game, which, as the employee says, brings about the sense that you're, there as part of a larger organized front, which is, I think, really cool in terms of a game, especially when you're trying to be, the last saviors of humanity involved in faction warfare. If you get to be involved with other players around you, from the same faction or other factions, it just makes it that much more believable. Now, in terms of interacting with other players, we don't quite know if they're going to be quests or how it's going to structure. Some sources, some leaks, some rumors have stated that it's a cross between maybe Halo or a sort of an intergalactic space World of Warcraft, although Bungie has laughed at the idea that it would be an MMORPG. They are not going to be doing an MMORPG. It's going to be somewhere, as I've said before, a cross between an FPS and a massive multiplayer online game. So there's going to be a lot of elements where you can interact with your friends and other players. It's important to note that this game is going to be rated T for teen, whereas Bungie in the past with Halo has made an M-rated game series. So this is going to be a much more community-oriented game, and I really like those types of games. Over at THFE, we like to see what the community can do, and I'm happy to see what this game will turn into. And it's always fun to play with a lot more players because the experience is so much more, I guess I would say, intense and replayable, because you can't always predict or script what players will do, and so you can always go back and get a different experience every time. There have been some hints that this game will have a subscription. There'll be a big open beta, so this does kind of all imply that they're going to be taking this into the MMO world of things. But anyway, guys, I'm going to be wrapping up this video right here that's been summing up kind of the news. So just to recap, what we've learned is that this will be for multiple platforms. They're going to make, I believe, several in the series, and interspersed between them will be DLC known as Comet. The game will probably feature multiple factions. It'll have huge environments, day and night cycles, wilderness. And what's also been mentioned in some of the other sources is that we'll be seeing customizable guns, there'll be player unlockables, and other mechanics that encourage you to be more interactive with the world and to come back and find new perks or new upgrades or all that stuff. So this is shaping up to be a really cool game. For more news, make sure you stay tuned here. We'll be keeping up to date with all the new news. Now, in terms of big news drops, Bungie is going to reveal Destiny in a little more depth at the GDC, that's the Game Developers Conference, on March 25th through 29th. They're going to be giving a talk that's titled Brave New World. In it, Bungie writer and designer Joe Staten and art director Christopher Barrett are going to be talking about the art of building a new game world. So obviously this team has incredible experience when it comes to building up sort of a game developing company from the ground up. That is Bungie. They've had a great success, and especially they know what it means to come up with a game that has a huge believable world to it, as is obvious from the Halo series. So they're going to be sharing their secrets and their techniques with others in the industry, and of course this information is going to be mostly publicized, and so what we're going to be seeing is probably examples of Destiny in the works or what they've been doing. So for more videos, stay tuned, make sure to like this video in particular, subscribe, and check out our other videos where we look into the more details that will be sprouting up. Anyways, guys, this has been Oakley Hideout with the Halo Forge Epidemic. A brief shout out to the art in motion that you've been seeing in the back. This is made by a YouTuber, NGS Universe. He does a lot of cool stuff. He's on DeviantArt. So some of the moving art backgrounds that you guys have seen, that was put together by him from the concept art. He painstakingly put that together and made his own trailer. So I'll be analyzing that in depth in another video, but we've also used it here. So make sure you check that out in its full and uncut glory. It's awesome. Anyways, this has been Oakley Hideout, as I've said multiple times, and I'm signing out. I'm super excited. I hope you guys are teased a little bit by this, and you're getting just as excited as me. So I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.